child, Kesha.
Not giving you my child.
The leaked trailer for The Cheese Season 8. Episode 9 just dropped, and it confirms what every single fan has been dreading. Tiff is going down, handcuffs, flashing lights, and a jail cell shot that lasts less than 2 seconds. But it's enough to break the internet. If you thought Episode 8 was heavy, wait until you see what's coming next, because this trailer basically confirms that every single lie is about to blow up in everyone's face at the same time. Okay, so if you've already seen the leaked trailer floating around, you already know things are about to get messy, and if you haven't seen it yet, don't worry, because I'm about to break down everything frame by frame so you don't miss a single detail. The Chi has never been afraid to punish its characters for their choices, and Episode 9 looks like the moment where the whole show cashes in every single secret that's been building since the season started. Let's start with the biggest bombshell, because the trailer opens with red and blue lights flashing across Tiff's face while she's sitting in the back of a police car. Her face is not calm. She looks like someone who finally understands that there is no way out this time. For weeks, we've watched Detective Tusant circle closer and closer, asking questions that seemed random at first, but were actually building toward one thing, proving that Tiff killed Nuck and that Bari never had anything to do with it. In Episode 8, Tusant already asked Tiff directly whether it was self-defense, and that question alone tells us she's not buying the story that Bari fed her. Detectives like Tusant don't ask questions like that unless they already have a theory, and in Episode 9 it looks like her theory finally gets proof. Somewhere in this leaked trailer there's a quick shot of an evidence bag, and honestly, that alone is terrifying because it means Nuck's body might have finally been found, or there's some piece of physical evidence tying Tiff directly to the scene. Once that evidence exists, everything changes. Bari can't keep taking the blame for something he didn't do, because now there's proof that contradicts his confession, and that puts him in an even more dangerous position, since lying to a detective who already suspects the truth is its own kind of crime. So when the trailer shows Tiff in handcuffs, it's not just shocking, it's basically the payoff for every hint the show has been dropping since Nuck disappeared. Now let's talk about what this means for Kesha, because out of everyone on this show, she's the one who's about to get hit the hardest. Kesha has spent this entire season trusting the two people who lied to her the most, her best friend Tiff and her fiancé Emit. She told Tiff directly that she's the one friend she could never afford to lose, and she said it with so much love that it honestly hurts to watch now, knowing what Tiff was hiding from her the whole time. In the trailer, there's a scene of Kesha standing outside what looks like a police station, and her face says everything. She's not confused anymore. She knows. And once Kesha knows that Tiff killed Nuck and let Bari take the fall, the next question becomes obvious. Did Emit know too? We already saw in Episode 8 that Emit and Tiff were struggling to hold back the truth from Kesha, which means Emit has been carrying this secret right alongside Tiff. When Kesha finds out that her fiancé sat on this information instead of telling her, that's not just a betrayal from a friend anymore. That's a betrayal from the man she's supposed to be marrying. The leaked trailer hints at a scene where Kesha is holding what looks like her wedding dress, just standing there, staring at it. And honestly, that image alone tells you everything about where Episode 9 is headed. I think there's a real chance Kesha calls off the wedding completely, not out of anger in the moment, but because she realizes she built her entire future around people who were willing to lie to her face every single day. Kesha has been one of the most genuine characters on this show, and watching her get surrounded by betrayal from the two people she trusted most is going to be one of the most emotional storylines of the season. Let's shift over to Reggie for a second, because his arc has quietly become one of the most powerful stories in the whole season. After losing their mother, Reggie and Vic finally had a real conversation, and for the first time in a long time, we saw Reggie actually vulnerable instead of defensive. For so long, Reggie believed his brothers were rejecting him because of who he is, without ever stopping to consider that maybe the distance was more complicated than that. Losing their mom seems to have cracked something open in him, and it looks like he's finally starting to understand why Vic and Jake pulled away in the first place. In the leaked trailer, there's a short clip of the three brothers standing together, and it's the first time all season they've actually looked like a unit instead of three separate people barely tolerating each other. That's huge. That's the kind of moment fans have been waiting for since the season started. But here's the part that worries me, and I think it should worry you too. Whenever a show builds up a character's redemption arc this clearly, whenever you see someone finally choosing family over everything else, finally growing, finally healing, that's usually the exact moment writers decide to take them away for maximum emotional impact. The Chi has done this before, building someone up just to break our hearts right when we start rooting for them the hardest. So while episode 9 might give us the reunion we've been hoping for between Reggie, Vic, and Jake, I have a real fear that this closeness is being set up specifically so that losing Reggie in the finale hits as hard as possible. For now though, let's enjoy it, because watching these brothers finally choose each other after everything they've been through is exactly the kind of payoff that makes this show worth watching. Now on to Bari, because his storyline is about to collide with everyone else's in a way that feels almost impossible to avoid. Bari has been trying to build a new life this entire season, and in episode 8, he finally told Lee that he wants to move to Atlanta with her, leave the streets behind, and start something real and legitimate for once. Lee's reaction said everything, because this is exactly what she's wanted the whole time, a life with Bari that isn't built on fear and danger every single day. But here's the problem. Bari made a huge sacrifice to protect Tiff by taking the blame for Nuck's murder, and that decision is about to come back around in the worst possible way. If Tiff really does get arrested in episode 9, and if there's real evidence tying her to the crime, then Bari's confession doesn't just disappear, it becomes a massive legal problem. He lied to a detective, he obstructed an investigation. And, depending on how deep Tusant's evidence goes, Bari might not be able to just walk away to Atlanta like nothing happened. The leaked trailer shows a quick shot of Bari with a packed bag, standing in what looks like a doorway, almost like he's frozen between leaving and staying. That single image tells a whole story on its own. Is he trying to escape before the truth catches up to him? Or does he already know it's too late? I think Bari is about to learn the hard way that the streets don't let go that easily, even when you're finally ready to leave them behind. His past decisions, all the loyalty and protection he's shown to people who probably didn't deserve it, might end up costing him the one thing he wanted most, a peaceful life far away from Chicago. Let's go back to Detective Tusant for a moment, because she might end up being the most important character in this entire episode, even though she doesn't get nearly as much screen time as the main group. Tusant has been sharp since the moment she appeared, and something about the way she questioned Tiff in episode 8 made it clear she wasn't just doing routine police work, she was building a case piece by piece. Detectives like her don't ask about self-defense randomly, they ask because they already suspect the real story doesn't match what they've been told. In the trailer, there's a scene where Tusant is looking at what appears to be a case file spread across a table, and based on the way the camera lingers on it, I think this is the moment she connects everything: Bari's confession, Tiff's inconsistent story, and whatever new evidence has surfaced. Once a detective like Tusant has enough pieces to see the full picture, there's no turning back, and that's exactly why I believe episode 9 ends with Tiff finally getting arrested. The title of this leaked trailer breakdown isn't just for shock value, it genuinely looks like the show is building toward putting Tiff behind bars before the season finale, which raises the question, does she stay there, or does she find a way out before the final episode wraps everything up? Now let's talk about what this means for Emit, because he's about to be caught in the middle of everything whether he likes it or not. Emit has known the truth about Nuck's death for a while now, and he's chosen to protect Tiff by staying silent, even while watching Kesha suffer under the belief that Bari is the killer. That silence might have felt like loyalty at the time, but once Kesha finds out that Emit knew the truth and said nothing, it's going to feel like the deepest betrayal of her entire relationship. The leaked trailer includes a brief moment of Emit and Kesha standing in what looks like their shared apartment, and the tension between them is obvious even without dialogue. Kesha isn't yelling, she isn't crying, she's just staring at him, and honestly, that kind of silence is so much more devastating than screaming would be. I think episode 9 forces Emit to finally choose a side. Does he keep protecting Tiff, or does he come clean to Kesha before she finds out from the police instead? Either way, his relationship with Kesha is about to take a hit it might never fully recover from, and depending on how far Kesha's trust has been broken, calling off the wedding might genuinely be the only realistic outcome left for her character. So here's where everything lines up for episode 9. Tiff gets arrested, and based on the trailer, it looks like new evidence finally connects her directly to Nuck's death, which means Bari's confession starts falling apart at the same time. Kesha finds out the full truth about both Tiff and Emit, and it looks like she's heading toward calling off the wedding entirely, especially with that wedding dress shot from the trailer weighing heavily on everything. Reggie, Vic, and Jake finally come together as brothers after losing their mother, which is beautiful to watch, but honestly terrifying if you know how this show treats characters right when they start healing. And Bari is standing at a crossroads trying to escape to Atlanta with Lee, but his past decisions and his loyalty to Tiff might make that escape a lot harder than he ever expected. Every single storyline this season has been building toward this collision, and episode 9 looks like the moment where none of these characters can keep running from what they've done anymore. There's another detail in the leaked trailer that a lot of people are missing, and honestly, I think it might be the most important clue in the entire thing. Right after the shot of Tiff in the back of the police car, there's a quick cut to Kesha's phone lighting up with a missed call, and the name on the screen isn't Tiff, it's Emit. That tiny detail changes everything, because it means Emit tries to reach Kesha before the news breaks somewhere else, before she has to hear it from a stranger or from the police themselves. That tells me Emit isn't planning to hide anymore once Tiff gets arrested. He's finally going to try to get ahead of the truth, even if it's way too late to actually protect Kesha from the pain of it. But here's the thing about trying to control a story after it's already spiraled out of your hands. It almost never works the way you hope. Kesha isn't going to hear, "I was trying to protect you," and suddenly feel better about being lied to for weeks. If anything, that phone call might make things worse, because it proves Emit only came forward once he realized the truth was coming out anyway, not because he actually chose honesty on his own. Let's also talk about Jake for a second, because he's been quieter this season compared to Vic and Reggie, but that doesn't mean he isn't carrying his own weight. Jake has always been the brother who tries to keep the peace, the one stepping in whenever Vic and Reggie start clashing, and losing their mother puts him in an impossible position. He's grieving just as hard as his brothers, but it looks like he's the one holding everything together while Vic and Reggie work through their issues with each other. In the trailer, there's a brief shot of Jake standing alone near what looks like a car, just staring off, and it's such a small moment, but it hits hard. Sometimes the person who seems the most stable is actually struggling the most quietly, because everyone assumes he's fine and nobody checks on him the way they check on Reggie or Vic. I think episode 9 might finally give Jake a moment to break a little, and honestly, he's earned it after holding the family together for so long without much credit. Now let's dig deeper into what new evidence could actually mean for Tiff, because the trailer doesn't spell it out completely, and that's clearly intentional. It could be as simple as a witness finally coming forward, someone who saw something the night Nuck died and stayed quiet out of fear until now. It could also be something more physical, a weapon, a piece of clothing, anything that ties Tiff directly to the scene in a way that's impossible to explain away. Or, and this is the theory that scares me the most, it could be Bari himself. Think about it. If Bari realizes that Tiff's lies are about to destroy his own future in Atlanta, at some point self-preservation might kick in. He's already given up so much to protect her, but if the walls are closing in and his own freedom is on the line, would he really keep protecting Tiff? Or would he finally tell Tusant the truth to save himself? That would be the ultimate gut punch, Bari, the person who sacrificed his reputation to protect her, becoming the reason she finally gets caught. It's messy, it's painful, and honestly, it's exactly the kind of storytelling the Chai has built its reputation on. And let's not forget about the wedding itself, because even if Kesha doesn't call it off completely in episode 9, the trailer makes it clear that whatever happens, this wedding is not moving forward the way anyone originally planned. There's a shot of wedding decorations, chairs lined up, flowers being arranged, contrasted directly against Kesha standing outside a police station with her arms crossed, looking completely lost. That kind of editing isn't an accident. The show wants you to feel the collision between the life Kesha thought she was building and the reality crashing down around her. Even if she doesn't say the words "the wedding is off" in this exact episode, I think we're watching the slow unraveling of that entire plan, piece by piece, right in front of us. At the end of the day, episode 9 looks like the moment where every single lie this season has been carrying finally reaches its breaking point. Tiff's arrest doesn't just affect her, it pulls Bari, Kesha, and Emit into the fallout with her, and none of them are walking away from this clean. Reggie's reunion with his brothers gives us a small window of hope in the middle of all this chaos. But if you know how this show operates, that hope might be exactly what makes the pain hit harder later on. Every relationship on this show is being tested at the exact same time, and it feels like the writers are lining everything up perfectly so that the season finale hits as hard as it possibly can. There's one more angle worth thinking about before we wrap this up, and it has to do with timing. The Chi loves ending episodes on a cliffhanger, so even if the trailer shows Tiff getting arrested, that doesn't necessarily mean the episode ends there. It's just as likely that this arrest happens early or in the middle of episode 9, giving the writers room to show the immediate aftermath, Kesha's reaction, Bari's panic, and Emit scrambling to hold his relationship together all before the credits roll. If that's the case, episode 9 could end on something even bigger, maybe a decision from Kesha about the wedding, maybe Bari actually leaving for Atlanta despite everything, or maybe Tusant uncovering one final piece of the puzzle that changes the whole direction of the finale. Whatever the order of events turns out to be, one thing is clear: this leaked trailer confirms that episode 9 is not a slow build-up episode. It's the episode where the season finally lets everything explode at once. What do you think happens once Tiff gets arrested? Do you think Kesha actually goes through with calling off the wedding? Or does she find a way to forgive Emit and Tiff once she understands why they lied? And most importantly, does Bari manage to escape to Atlanta before his past catches up to him? Or is his window to leave already closed? Drop your predictions in the comments below, because episode 9 is shaping up to be one of the most intense episodes the Chai has ever given us, and I genuinely cannot wait to see how much of this